B, public comments.
This is part of the meeting where we invite anyone that wishes to speak to any item that was not on the agenda to come forward, state your name and address for the record, and speak your piece.
I never intended to, but I've kind of accidentally become banned book Beetlejuice. If you challenge my book, I appear, even if I have to fly 7,000 miles from Korea to Kentucky to do it. Because I love librarians, I love libraries, so when I see them being attacked and my book being used as a tool to threaten them, I have to do something. And that's what happened recently in Daviess County, Kentucky, when a group called Citizens for Decency challenged our book. This group protests against what they call degenerate art, which includes a lot of drag shows and books with queer characters. Somehow our book made the list, and luckily the library stood up for the community, and after the mandatory removal and review of the books, decided to put them all back on the shelves. But I wanted the city to know how brave and amazing and wonderful that stand was, and to make sure that they kept supporting the library. So I took a train, a bus, a plane, and an 8-hour drive into town for 2 days of meetings. So I'm going to play the first speech, and then I'll tell you what happened.
Hi, my name is Ryan Estrada, and my address is a little bit further away from many of you. I traveled here today from Busan, South Korea. 3 months ago, Citizens for Decency stood up at this meeting and demanded that you force the library to remove a book that I wrote from your library, along with hundreds of others from their spots on the shelves. And I heard a lot of awful things being said about the librarians here in Daviess County that my research proved was in no way true. So I got on a plane and I traveled 7,000 miles to be here today to extend my deepest thanks and appreciation to the Daviess County Public Library, all the amazing people that run it, and all the support that you give them. The freedom to read is a right that I hold very dearly. My wife, Kim Han-suk, grew up without it. She was hunted down by the police for reading books a dictator didn't like. He claimed he was just banning communist propaganda, but that was a lie. He also banned books about freedom because he didn't want people to realize they didn't have it. For reading these books, her friends were arrested, tortured, and thrown into prison. But their efforts helped make Korea a free country, and that's the story that was challenged here in Daviess County. My friend Amy Rose also grew up without this right inside a UFO death cult. The leader said that reading about the outside world was wrong because this world was about to end, but that was obviously a lie. The banned books hid the abuse Amy endured. She read them anyway and learned everything she needed to escape. Access to challenging and controversial books saved their lives, so they hoped that turning their stories into books would save someone else's. But now across America, stories like theirs are being removed from shelves. And the group here in Daviess County says they're removing pornography, but that too is a lie. I challenged them to show me where the pornography is in my book. I've looked several times. I can't find it. Or in other books they challenged, like Are You My Mother? This children's board book about a lost baby bird was used as an example of the supposed adult content in your children's section. It seems they confused it with Are You My Mother, a comic drama, a memoir available in your adult nonfiction section. Not only did they not read the books they challenged, they didn't even make sure they were the right ones. What the challenged books here in Daviess County do have is queer kids, kids of color, kids in traumatic situations, and so does your community. And these books show kids that they're not alone, that it's okay to be proud of themselves and to question the dangerous situations that others put them in. Telling a kid that a book they see themselves in is unfit for the public library is telling those kids that they are unfit for the public. It's taking away the stories that could save their lives. So thank you, and please never stop standing up for these challenges. And if anyone tries to tell you what you're not allowed to read, tell them, no, you're not my mother. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for making the effort to be here.
I gave the same speech at the library board the next day, and I was nervous. I kind of felt like my cousin Vinny, a cartoonish city boy road tripping across the South with an ill-fitting suit in my trunk to speak in front of a court about the youths. But the speeches went great. Everybody was amazing. The best part was the conversations afterward, which went far longer than those speeches. I talked to board members and police and firefighters and judges and citizens and people from the library, people from local groups, and everybody was shaking my hand, thanking me for coming, saying that they agree that book banning is wrong. I even got pulled over as soon as I entered Kentucky. I pulled over, and the cop was like, I told him why I was in the city, and he's like, you know what, I want you to know that I think it's wrong when they ban books, and I give you my full support, and I'm also giving you a ticket. So, little support there and little, also a ticket. But everyone told me that they support this, and I made sure I let them know how important it is to let everyone in their community know that they support books so that these things can't take hold. I got to meet the collective, a group of local activists, to learn what they're doing to fight back and share what I've learned about the issue from national and historical perspective. One of the most interesting parts, however, was finally getting to speak directly to several people who did not agree with me. Because I've done banned book talks all over the world, but it's usually people who decided to go to a banned book event. Speaking to someone who does not agree with me on the topic was interesting. And I know I didn't change any minds, but I hope that I opened them. But we were having friendly conversations. I got to clear up some misunderstandings, see where they're coming from, explain where I'm coming from. And there were a couple people in positions of power that I got to talk to who for months had based their stance on the topic on the library had shelved the very excellent young adult sex education book, Let's Talk About It, The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationships, and Being a Human, by Erica Moen and Matthew Nolan, in the children's section. And I was like, I'm not sure that's true. I don't think that book was ever in the children's section. They're like, well, that's what my group says, and there's no way to confirm it. And I'm like, well, we're in the library. We can take 10 steps to the information desk and find out. So after 3 months of this dictating policy, I went and asked if that book had ever been shelved in the children's section of the library. And it turns out it was not. The book in the children's section of the library was not Let's Talk About It, The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationships, Being a Human. It was Let's Talk About It, A Sesame Street Guide to Conflict Resolution by Elmo. Glad I could clear that up. Went from feeling like my cousin Vinny to feeling like Columbo cracking the case. So overall, it was an amazing trip, and I encourage everyone watching this to go speak up at your own city council and library board meetings in support of librarians and the freedom to read. Anyone can go to any of these and speak. Just Google when the meetings are, pop in. It takes 2 minutes to talk, and it can make a huge difference in your community and the world. Because this movement against intellectual freedom is getting larger and larger, and they're trying to spread it everywhere. So make sure that you let the people in charge of your community know that you don't want it here. You want to keep the freedom to read alive. And you don't have to travel 7,000 miles to do it. Thank you.